Yo, how's it going, everyone? Otter, or otherwise known as Aquavital, back again for another phase review, this time doing phase 2. I'm not going to go over what SOD is, I'm sure everyone knows what it is at this point, but for this phase I mained Moonkid, Enhanced Shaman, and DPS Warlock. I did my own spin on all of them, but it was pretty fun. I think Phase 2 was better than P1. I don't burn out the same way, like I can play the same game over and over, so there wasn't any risk of burnout. I'll go over the characters, I'll go over what the phase did well, and then I'll go over what the phase did badly. A bit more structured than the last one, but on this Moonkin, everything's almost full bis, other than I don't have the dagger. I have the offhand sitting right here, but never saw the dagger, unfortunately, despite clearing them every week, which was pretty fun, and I got the shoulders actually right before this video, like earlier today, so that's cool. I don't have the Pearl because I played Feral P1 and I'm not spending 75 gold for it. I'm a bit of a penny pincher in that regard, but pretty good. I used the Cloth set because it had more armor for PvP, but I have the Irradiated set right here because that was pretty easy to get, and almost got the Insulated set too, the Leather set. But both of them are pretty close in DPS, and for PvE, like, the stamina reduction doesn't really matter at this stage. But yeah, pretty good. Moonkin was fun. Played a spec like this. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what they were trying to do with the spec, so it wasn't just, you actually just do more than just, you know, press Star Surge. But after the Star Surge nerf, it definitely felt a little worse, like, worse for wear. But they eventually buffed it back up, like, Starfire hits like Truck, thanks to the Star Surge rune. It's what they did to it, which was make it buffer Starfire, which is really, really nice. Then Eclipse, obviously, Eclipse makes Moonkin actually do more than just spam one ability. And Dream State's good for mana. And they buff Sunfire and Moonfire to basically just keep up to basically Wrath's damage, so you want to keep both those up, which is fun. So, like, the DPS rotation is basically Star Surge on cooldown because it gives you the buff. Keep your dots up, Starfire to consume the buff, and then Wrath when you can't do any of those. And yeah, that's pretty fun. I enjoy it. I'm not a pro by any means. You can obviously look my characters up in Warcraft logs if you think I'm like a dummy, but I think I did alright. And yeah, it was really fun with mates. I healed a couple times as Restless Druid, which was fun, bit different, but I enjoyed Moonkin the most. Jumping to another character though. We got Bernardino, the two-handed Enhanced Shaman, which I thought was the funnest thing. In Classic Wrath, I played two-handed Shaman because I just think two hands are more fun, like, cosmetically, than dual wielding. And yeah, absolutely fantastic. Really, really, really enjoy Enhanced Shaman. It not only is it good, like, obviously dual wield's better, like, dual wield is better, but two-handed is still really fun, really, like, oh, I don't have any DPS logs, but still really, really good. I didn't level professionals on this, so I'm missing the helmet, but yeah, still pretty decent gear. Same as I played Resto Shaman in P1, so I don't have, well, I started leveling this as Resto, so I don't have the attack power version of this, and I don't have the trinket from Plug, because I always plugged with this character, which I'll talk about later on, my experience with that. But it was really fun. I really, really, really enjoyed SOD Shaman, like Enhanced Shaman. I think it's definitely one of the best improved specs. Like, obviously Shaman in Classic literally just done auto attacked after putting any totems, so this was great. This was really fun. Nothing but good. I can say nothing but good things about Enhanced Shaman. It was amazing. It was great. And it was basically everything I wanted it to be in Wrath of the Lich King. Because in Wrath, I didn't like dual wielding. I didn't like how it played, so got some good gear. I mean, this was all pugs, so getting the gear's a bit harder. Like, I'm missing the grubber shoulders. I'm missing the dismantling cape. I'm missing the gloves, which potential upgrade. The ones that make you do mechanical damage. I'm missing the crafted helmet. And I'm missing the weapon. Just never saw it drop. As well as trinkets, but still pretty good outside that. Spells here. I don't know why, but the Wirehead build doesn't tell you to go improved weapon totems. It tells you instead to take 1 point Guardian totems and 1 point parry, which is fine for leveling spec, but 1 point Guardian totems doesn't really do anything. At least this buffs your team. I mean, if you just cared about damage, you could put these 2 points into improved Lightning Shield instead. And probably take a point out of improved Ghost and put improved Lightning Shield too, which I will probably do next phase. So I'd have these 2 points and these 2 points in improved Lightning Shield, and I'd have 1 in improved wind totems, or I have 2 in this and 2 in this, something like that. Because I know next season there's runes that'll make you do Lightning Shield damage. Then we got Warlino the Warlock. I leveled this Warlock as Affliction, damage, not tank. And yeah, I just like the dot playstyle. I don't really like destruction. This guy's done a couple Numas, not too many. You can actually see DPS is the one, right? But Aff kind of sucks compared to Destro. Definitely not very good. But on oh, this is never mind. Warlock on Menagerie is really fun though, like really fun with Everlasting Affliction and Shadowbolt Volley. Basically just keeps your corruption up the whole time, ticking really hard. That's my favorite fight by far as Warlock this phase was Menagerie. For everything else, I really like Crowd Pummel. It's a simple boss with one mechanic that you can see people die to, and it's really fun to see. The Warlock's got some, just a little bit of stuff. Most of it's like BOE gear or stuff like that, but yeah, I enjoyed the Warlock. It's pretty great. I'll go over, now I've seen the characters, you know, my progress. I'll go over what I think the phase did well and what the phase didn't do well. What the phase did well was Bloodmoon was absolutely fantastic. Like, I cannot stress enough how good the Bloodmoon is. It is probably the best PvP event WoW's ever done. It accomplishes, there's still teaming to an extent, but it decentivizes teaming, like incentivizes just going in a group. There's a roaming boss that's fun to see. You can PvE if you really want to, so there's a PvE option if you really are allergic to PvP. It gathers players up next to the roaming boss, so you get more stuff. So even if you're on even if you're at a quiet time of the night, you'll still find people. Basically, everything about the Bloodmoon is really good. They did change the spawning in the Wandering Graveyards, which I thought was a mistake, but they reverted most of that, and now Bloodmoon's really good. Bloodmoon's, and I'm glad it's staying. Bloodmoon is one of the best things they've done in WoW in recent memory. Gnomeregan is, I think Gnomeregan's fun, and the gear from there is definitely insane. I'll get into that later, but like, yeah, really fun. The fights are pretty good. For classic standards, like, you don't want like a retail mythic fucking Farak in Gnomeregan, right? For classic, you don't need that. You just need something you can like pug something with your mates and have a lot of fun with that. And I think Gnomeregan does accomplish that. The new runes are mostly good, like their effects. Not always how you acquire them. Spoiler, I'll come up later. But most of the runes have been good. I really enjoyed the Dark Rider rune. I know a lot of the runes this phase did make you travel around the world a lot, but since we got mounts this phase, like, that's not the worst thing in the world. And I thought it was pretty fun, like, going and acquiring them. A lot of the lore, as well, as, like, with the new runes, like, if you pay attention to the quest text, as well as when you're doing the epic crafts, which I'll talk about in a second, there's a lot of nice little lore, which is fun. I thought that was fun. And the epic crafts from the raid were a really good idea. Same as BFD, you could get epics from, you could go on a quest line to craft. I thought that was really cool. In Gnomeregan, you go to fix the machine to clean the encrusted whatever they are, and that's how you get the recipes. And I felt that was really cool. It also created an economy for it that wasn't really there in P1, which I took advantage of on my Druid and made a bit of gold that way. It was really fun. You know, clear the raid within the first week and make a bit of money off it. That's sick. What I didn't enjoy this phase was, there was a couple problems with this phase. One was some of the runes were absolute aids to get. Invocation is probably one of the worst runes. I mean, to get, it's not even that good, I don't think, but like to get it was absolute like turbo aids cancer. You had to go to Stromgarde in Arathi, which is down here, where all the elites are. There's tons of invisible rogue elites and tons of mage elites, and you had to go there and you had to get a low drop rate chance off just the casters, so the rogues were basically just annoying. They were turbo respawning. It was one of the worst runes I've done. Now, I was a warlock with Master Channeler, so I was really tanky, and I could tank two at once as an F spec, but it was still just turbo bad. Like, it just took ages, it felt awful, and then after getting out I realized it wasn't very good, and went and got Grimoire and Synergy instead, which I had to do the meta quest chain for, which wasn't as bad, honestly, but still very long. I do think like Warlock's got some pretty nasty quest chains to get those, and I hope they don't just like make runes that awkward. I'm not even talking about the meta questline or the Grimoire of Synergy. I felt like the Grimoire of Synergy questline was good. I just felt like Warlock runes just take a lot longer than others. It would be nice if they were kind of equalized a bit. They don't have to be, obviously I'm not saying they should be the same, but Warlock, like, this invocation room was terrible. Like, what the hell were they thinking? Like, the acquisition of this was awful. Like, I've heard if you fail to fight the elite, you have to do it all again too. But the elites, honestly, the elite, the Voidwalker elite you fight to get this at the very end is easier than fighting the humanoid elites you have to kill. So that's crazy to me. But that was probably the lowest point of the patch for me, was getting this rune here. There might even be worse ones, but it's just crazy that this was this bad. Like, all the enhanced Shaman runes and all the Moonkin runes were not this bad. Like, this was horrible. But no one uses this rune. Half the people probably don't even know it's that terrible. Most people just go on Wowhead and go, oh yeah, I'm going to use whatever Wowhead tells me to use. And Wowhead does not tell you to use this. Even as Affliction, this isn't that great. Grim of Synergy is just better after they buffed it, because it used to be 5 for 5, I think, and now it's 5 for 25%, which is nice. The Bloodmoon item acquisition gave a reason to do it. I think this is a good thing. I enjoy PvP. It was really fun. However, because a lot of people were doing PvP, they started to see a bit of glaring in PvP. Namely, at the start of the phase, Moonkins and Shadow Priests were massively overperforming. Priest healers are still massively overperforming, but that's just because they got Disperse. Disperse is insanely strong and makes them basically not die to rogues, but every healer pretty much dies to rogue other than Paladin. However, I can't really talk about Paladin. I don't play Alliance, and yeah. Maybe they're insane, maybe they're not, I don't know. I never got healed by any of them. But for PvP anyway, definitely early on, the Moonkins were just one-shotting people with Star Surge, which was not the best. Not the funnest to play against either. And Shadow Priest was just Shadow Word deafing people for 2/3 of their HP, which was crazy. But they did nerf that. The one thing I'd be worried about in the future would be the burst just being too high. Like, I know Classic typically has much higher bursts than like retail, and that's not a bad thing, but if we're level 40, like, two-shotting each other, that's probably not a good sign for what's coming at 60, right? Like, stamina didn't scale enough, but spell power and damage did. So I hope next phase they just scale up the stamina a little bit, don't scale the damage too much, right? So, because you want to be able to fight people, especially melee in a Bloodmoon, just getting collapsed, just destroyed by priests, destroyed by Moonkins, wasn't the funnest thing, but I didn't play melee this phase, I played all range. And I was happy with how it went. I still have really a lot of fun at Bloodmoons. I feel like they were fun overall, but there was especially balance problems with like full priest groups, full priest and moonkin groups, and you've got a lot of mage groups too. But I don't know if they're like obnoxious or they're just like pretty easy to just stand ultra and arcane explosion. And the last thing I will say, which goes into Bloodmoons again, BGs. Now, they did improve BGs by making you not queue into pre-mades, and Arathi Basin is, I think, much better than Warsong Gulch. Even if your team's getting destroyed, you don't have to just sit at G-Way and wait for them to end. You can go to a base, you can go fight somewhere else on the map. You know, I think that's cool. And, however, one problem with it was because of how good the Bloodmoon is, and because that's how... I would argue that the Bloodmoon's better honor than sitting in BGs. Maybe it's just me because I pug. Maybe if you pre-made it's better. But the best way to rank up and the best way to get Arathi base and rep is just to do the Bloodmoon and turn them into tokens. This was a bit too much, I think. I mean, not for honor because everyone's gonna get honor capped anyway. Doing whatever PvP, but namely the Arathi base and rep. I think it was a problem that you could get too exalted with the Arathi with Arathi Basin by turning in the lumber that you can buy for blood coins. Maybe if you get to Revered and still have to do the rest in Arathi, that would have been cool. But it felt like I had a couple of mates who were saying that they couldn't get queues. Queues were ages long because there's no one doing the grind basically, right? And yeah, I can see the problem with that. I never did it personally. I didn't feel like doing that. I got my mounts on all my characters and the tiger mounts on my Shaman and my Druid, and yeah, I just thought that was pretty fun, but I wouldn't want to do it even longer for Arathi Basin rep, but I might end up doing that next phase. I do think that a lot of the Bloodmoon stuff, though, being good, does incentivize people who don't otherwise PvP to at least give it a go. And go, oh yeah, we just need like 7 tokens for a cloak and an offhand, or like, oh, I'm a warrior, I need the cloak and the two-handed weapon, so I need 17 blood coins. Like, that's not inhuman to expect, especially with all the changes. Even if you're like, in the worst group of worst, you're at least getting like a 300, 400 each, and that's if you're in a really bad group. If you're in a semi-decent group, like I've pugged a lot, I would expect to get anywhere between like 500 to 700 easy, even in a bad group. And if I'm in a good group, you can get like upwards of like, 1,500 coins if you're in if you farm really hard off it. I think my best was like 1,300, 1,400, and that's like just like with mates, like not doing anything crazy. Just, oh, this is our spot. We're just gonna rest here and nuke everybody. And if you look at it that way, then you probably only have to do like 3 or 4 Bloodmoons, right? if you're in a competent group. Obviously, if you're in a worse group, it might take longer, but I think that's a very fair thing to expect for such a good piece of gear. It is classic, so gear acquisition's a big deal, and doing 4 Blood Moons for 30 minutes each, maybe a bit longer, let's say like 40 minutes, you got to get there, maybe even longer than 40 minutes, but let's just say like, that's like what, like 3 hours, 3.5 hours of effort to get like BIS or close to BIS gear. That's perfect. I do think like PvE balance was a bit off early on, but it's getting a bit better, like, as all the balance changes. I've seen what they're doing next season too, and I'm excited for it. P3 soon. P3 hype. P3 hype. And yeah, I'll be doing that. I don't know. I'll probably try to upload some clips of that, but we'll see. I hope you enjoyed my review. It was really fun, this phase. Yeah. Enhanced Shaman and Moonkin were definitely the best. Warlock I didn't really enjoy, sadly. Maybe I'll try it. It just was bad. Affliction was just bad, but that's just because Destro's so good, right? And yeah. I hope to see everyone in P3. Bye.